Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. I'm Louise, and today I'm going to be doing my 2023 wrap-up and my plans for 2024. First, I do want to start by apologizing for not having a video last Friday. I have been really busy at work, and then I got sick over the weekend, so like all my plans kind of got a little messed up. I'm going to try to finish editing that video and post it as soon as I can, so hopefully you'll have 2 videos in the next week, so hopefully you'll have an extra video. We'll see what I can do. So for my wrap-up stuff, I'm going to start with my word count for the year. In this month of December, I got 2,089 words. I think that's better than what I've been getting, but it's nowhere near my goal of 10,000. To be fair, we still have like 2 more days left of the year, but I'm just wrapping up my year right now. But my word count total for the entirety of 2023 was 35,127 words, which isn't as good as I got last year. I think last year I got about 130,000 words throughout the year, but I only wrote for the first half of the year. The second half of the year, I don't think I wrote anything. My plans for my writing for 2024 is 10,000 words a month, so at the end of the year I want a total of 120,000 words. I think I want to start trying to do writing vlogs. I know a couple months ago I did a writing vlog video, but I think the only way that I can really force myself to write every day in a week after week, is to record it and then do writing vlogs. They might be more like day in my life or week in my life sort of vlogs rather than just writing vlogs, but I think the only way that I can really hold myself accountable is to do that. And if I were to do more of weekly writing vlogs, I'd probably start posting book reviews whenever I finish a book, rather than maybe I finish 2 books in a week. Instead of posting a review, 1 week and then the second review another week and then finish a couple more books. Maybe, it depends on my reading. But if I were to just post a review for them, rather than waiting for a week to post a review, I might just start doing that in that way. But that does bring me into my reading wrap-up. This month of December I read 2 books, but I'm gonna get to that in just a second. Throughout the year I read 31 books, which my goal was only 25. My book reading goal was only 20 books this year, so 31 books is really good for me. That's a huge year. To be fair, I did read some books I wasn't expecting to. I read books that I really loved, I read books I really hated, and some of the books I read just kind of came out of nowhere, and I just really love them a lot. The books that I read this year were Murder on the Orient Express by Agatha Christie, Warbreaker by Brandon Sanderson, Uzumaki by Junji Ito, Project Hail Mary by Andy Weir, Romancing the Beat by Gwen Hayes, The Seven novelization by Anthony Bruno. The movie was definitely better than the adaptation. I'm Glad My Mom Died by Jeanette McCurdy, Tress of the Emerald Sea by Brandon Sanderson, The Frugal Wizard's Handbook for Surviving Medieval England by Brandon Sanderson, Night Shift, which is a collection of short stories by Stephen King, Lonesome Dove by Larry McMurtry, Hooked by Emily McIntyre, Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen, the 3 White Sand novels or graphic novels by Brandon Sanderson, Yumi and the Nightmare Painter by Brandon Sanderson, Eat That Frog by Brian Tracy, Atomic Habits by James Clear, The Road by Cormac McCarthy, To Sleep in a Sea of Stars by Christopher Paolini, The Secrets of the Immortal Nicholas Flamel series, all 6 books by Michael Scott, Dracula by Bram Stoker, Gardens of the Moon the first book in the Malazan series by Steven Erikson, The Mysterious Affair at Styles by Agatha Christie, and A Christmas Carol by Charles Dickens. Now, those last two I read in the month of December. I really wish I had been feeling well enough to be able to edit and post my Christmas Carol video. I'm still going to try and get that edited up and posted. In case that doesn't happen, it was a surprisingly good book. It's more of a novella. It has a million movie adaptations that are all, well, I say all of them, I only watched two. I basically listened to A Christmas Carol on audiobook. It was narrated by Tim Curry. It was just so well done. And then I immediately, as soon as I finished listening to it, I immediately watched The Muppets Christmas Carol, and that was just a fantastic movie too. So honestly, I had such a big reading year this year. I only started this channel in September, and I have noticed my reading rate go up since I started this channel. I think without doing videos, I probably would have read half as much. I probably would have hit 25 books in the year, but I wouldn't have hit 31. I'm hoping that next year I'll end up reading a lot more. I think I could probably get myself to read 40 books next year, but I think for my Goodreads goal, I'm going to have it be 12 books, so only one book a month, but I'm planning on reading a lot of big books next year. Books that are more in-depth. I do want to start focusing on Malazan and the Cosmere. And Malazan tends to be a very deep read, whereas with the Cosmere books that I'm working on, I'm supposed to be reading, are more length. Like, I still have to read the entirety of the Stormlight Archive. I have 4 books, and there's another book coming out in 2024, and I'm so excited for that, but I have to actually catch up to be able to read it. I do also really want to focus on Malazan. I have to read Deadhouse Gates next. That's going to be basically what I'm going to be focusing on in January. I'm still reading The Terror, but now that I'm feeling better, I definitely see myself going through that one a little bit faster. But Deadhouse Gates is the other thing that I'm like want to focus on. And then I think once I finish Deadhouse Gates, I'll probably read The Way of Kings, and then I'll probably bounce back to Malazan, unless that's a bad idea. The only thing that I've really heard is to not read Malazan and The Wheel of Time at the same time, because they're both more depthy reads. I don't know. I have been wanting to read some other things though. Like, I've got a whole list of things. There is a video that I watched recently. It's called How to Set Reading Goals. It's by TJ Wilde. I'll have a link to his video in the description. And I thought it was a really good video, and it made me want to start thinking about my own reading goals, about having nonfiction reading goals, something that intimidates you, and then something that you really want to read. Some of the other books that I do want to focus on are, I want to reread On Writing by Stephen King, and I also want to read Getting Things Done by David Allen, as more of those self-help sort of books. I do want to read a couple of true crime books that I've gotten through Kindle Unlimited as some other nonfiction that I want to read. So I do want to read more nonfiction this year. It's been almost a decade since I was in high school, so my nonfiction brain doesn't really exist here anymore. Besides living day to day. I do want to read one particularly challenging book, and that's Anna Karenina by Leo Tolstoy. I want to read War and Peace, but War and Peace really kind of scares me. It is a ginormous book, and I might get around to reading it next year, like 2025, 2026, but that's kind of a far off goal. I want to start with something that's a little bit more simple, but still intimidating. So Anna Karenina is one that I'm going to focus on this year as well. And then there's a handful of other things that I do want to read. I want to, on top of what I've already mentioned, I want to start reading Malice by John Gwynne. I want to start reading the Faithful and the Fallen series by John Gwynne, which the first book of that is Malice. I'll probably start focusing on that once I finish catching up in the Cosmere. I don't really see myself reading more than 2 series at once, and if I'm going to be reading the Malazan series and the Stormlight Archive, I don't want to also be including Malice on top of that. That seems like a lot more. Because I think, at least in my head, I can tell apart Steven Erikson and Brandon Sanderson because they have very different prose. Their writing styles are very different. And Gardens of the Moon wasn't like a difficult book for me to read because it was different than anything else I had read. I don't know, does that make sense? I don't think it does. Because Stephen King also writes different and his writing is just not my favorite. Another book series I want to read is the First Law trilogy by Joe Abercrombie. I have heard so many good things about that series. I look forward to it, but that's another series where it's like, I probably shouldn't be reading more than 2 series at once. I do want to read the Lord of the Rings trilogy because I have never read that, and I love the movies. I think I got as far as Bree, like just before meeting Strider. That sounds really bad. I stopped reading it just before it got good. I do want to read Lord of the Rings this year. I plan on reading that in the spring though, and I'll probably take a whole week just to read that. So I do look forward to that one a lot though. There's a lot of other books that are in my TBR right now. It is exciting to be where and when I am because there are so many good books that so many people recommend that I just really look forward to. And it's also a plus that so many things are completed. The First Law trilogy I know is complete. I think The Faithful and the Fallen is complete. It's 4 books, I believe, but don't quote me on that one. But yeah, I guess that's my writing and reading wrap up for 2023, my plans for 2024. I hope it's a really productive year for my writing. I want to read a lot this year, and 2024 feels like it could be a much better year than the last year and a half has been. So yeah, I really look forward to it. What are some books that you're interested in reading this next year? What are some creative or work-related goals that you have? I'd love to hear it. And if you have any recommendations for books for me to add to my TBR, please let me know. I look forward to seeing them. Anyways, if you enjoyed this video, consider leaving a like. If you're interested in how my 2024 progresses, consider subscribing and keeping up. Yeah, I guess that's it. Alright, thank you again for watching. Bye!